Stop leaving money on the table in your pallet recycling business. We are going to cover how to dominate the market and how to create every opportunity that's available to you and transform that into income. And I'm going to show you on this table that's been created on this page here. We're going to go point by point so you understand the differences of doing this pallet recycling business in the way that the Simplest Biz is taught compared to how everybody else is doing it wrong. Okay, so let's get into it. We are going to cover every point, and I'm going to explain each one so you have a complete knowledge of this. Before I start, though, give me a thumbs up if you like this kind of content. If you don't, give me a thumbs down, leave a comment, subscribe to this channel if you like this content, so I can actually know and get some feedback from you folks, okay? So let's get down to it. Enhancing value across the board. That's what we're trying to do. And when I mean across the board, we're going to cover all the different things that come into play when we are talking about the Simplest Biz method compared to the scavenger method, okay? So I'm going to put my little old man glasses on like I have to do sometimes so I read this properly. Let's go point by point. Very first one, selling various sizes and styles of pallets. In the Simplest Biz method, we do that. And you'll learn in following rows and topics why that's so important. When we're doing the scavenger method, we are not selling all varieties and styles and sizes of pallets. The people are out there looking for one size to sell to a pallet yard. And that's the 4840 standard, and that's what they are locked into. And we're going to go deep into that point because it makes a domino effect if you do it one way compared to the other. All right? Direct sales to business. That is what we do in the Simplest Biz. Why? Because the profits are higher. Two, we're serving the suppliers and the buyers in a different manner to where we can become locked in. So we are solving problems for these businesses that haven't been solved in the past that the scavenger is not doing. In fact, in most cases, a scavenger is selling, like I said, to a pallet yard. Getting inventory for free from suppliers. Getting inventory free from suppliers. Simplest Biz method, you're much more likely to get your supply for free because you're dealing in various sizes and styles of pallets, in addition to other items that we are going to cover later. But the scavenger method limits you to that one size 4840 pallet. And in most cases, if that's all they're getting, which is the case, they are going to be charged by a business for that 4840. So we'll cover in a few minutes why a lot of times we'll even get the 4840s for free when the other guys cannot. Okay? Paying for a standard 4840 pallet, in some cases, we can pay for a 4840, especially if we have a supplier that only has 4840s. Okay? Our profit margins are still much higher than the scavenger that's paying for them because they're selling to a pallet yard and we're selling to businesses. But think about it. Who are the pallet yards selling to? To businesses. So we're cutting that part of the game out of them. The scavenger selling to a pallet yard for small amounts of money, $1, $2, $2.50 per pallet. Okay? But then the pallet yards jacking the price up, selling to businesses. Well, since we don't, in the Simplest Biz method, sell to businesses, sell to the pallet yard, we can make more profit. And as I stated, in some cases, we'll pay for that 4840, but our profit margins are going to be higher because we're not selling to a pallet yard. Okay? Just want to make that clear. Reduction in disposal costs for suppliers. Suppliers, let me even help you understand, is a business that's generating all different sorts of pallets, sizes and styles of them, and grades of pallets. And they are having to dispose of them because they have no longer a need for them. It is a byproduct of their business. We are solving that problem for them in the pallet area, but we are also solving that problem for all the other stuff. Whereas the scavenger, since it's only getting a limited amount going to a supplier, a business that's generating pallets, but are only cherry picking out the 4840s, the business still has that disposal cost going on. Plus, we'll get into this later, a little bit more, a mess, because they're knocking stuff over to get that 4840 and cherry pick them out. Limited by inventory availability at yards. So what this is referring to, the scavenger is limited to what the pallet yards are willing to take at any given time. Because there's sometimes where a pallet yard is overstocked, and you as a scavenger, if you're operating under that method, are going to that pallet yard and they're not buying. Now you got a truckload of pallets, you don't have any customers that are businesses, and you're stuck to go stick them in your garage because a scavenger is limited in that method. Okay? We got a lot more to go. Selling additional products, and we're going to go over a lot of these different products as well. Selling like Gaylord boxes and crates. Well, that's where we come in at Simplest Biz. We're not limiting ourselves just to pallets, because a supplier that generates pallets as the byproduct of their business a lot of times has a lot of these other items that we can source as well and sell those to the existing customers that we already have, the ones that are already buying pallets from us. Okay? So important. We are having a full-fledged business here instead of limiting ourselves to just the 4840 game. All right? Multiple recurring revenue streams. So let's go into some of these points. There's pallets, crates, 55-gallon metal drums, corrugated boxes, Gaylord boxes, dunnage, IBC totes, wire reels, industrial bags. All of these items are being generated by business and are lightly used that we can source, and we teach you how to do that in the training, and sell to the businesses that we are already dealing with, so we do not have to go out and find a new customer. Whereas the scavenger, again, is limited to collecting 4840 standard pallets, which is the kind you see behind a grocery store, selling to a pallet yard, and that's the box that they are stuck in. Are you starting to see the different opportunities that are coming into play? And that's why I titled this, Enhancing Value Across the Board. We're not only increasing value for us as far as the amount of revenue streams that we're creating, but we're enhancing the value for the supplier and the buyers as well, because we have more solutions for them. Okay? We're going to keep going because I want you folks to understand this. It's important. If you understand these concepts and what you're going to learn in the training, you'll understand that you have a lot more doors open to you to create revenue streams for your life, which equals free time and money freedom in your life. All right? That's the point we're trying to get at, and adding value to your business and your business model is how that comes into play and how you separate yourself from the competition. You got to know your stuff. You can't just wing this, because these scavengers, in a lot of cases, have given the pallet industry a bad name, and they may lump you into this category. But if you know what to say and which questions to ask and which problems to solve and what things to notice, which is taught in the training, and where to go and who has what and what goes where, that's when it becomes a business, an attainable business that you can get locked into. Multiple recurring revenue streams, we just went over that, where we're not just a one-stop shop, we're dealing with all the other products. But when we are a one-stop shop for multiple items, as it says in the next row, we become tethered to the supplier because we're servicing that supplier and moving more items off their property on a consistent basis. And we become invaluable and indispensable to the buyer because now we are tethered to them in a multiple different ways and different products, where we are their one-stop shop, and simultaneously created multiple recurring revenue streams. Mass creation at supplier sites, that falls under the category of the scavenger method, and having to cherry pick out good 4840s to sell to a pallet yard, even bad ones. When a company has a variety of pallets and a scavenger shows up, he's trying to knock pallets over to get out 4840s from those stacks and just gather those, and leaving the place in a worse mess than it was when he got there. How is that compared to us? Well, since we are able to get all of the pallets and even have a whole section, if there's some broken ones, and inserted in there, we are able to create a revenue stream for even broken pallets as well. So we are a full service to the supplier, okay, which locks us in for that supplier. The scavenger can get locked in because after a while they're going to get more than frustrated. Even if they're making money from the 4840s from the scavenger, it's upsetting the suppliers, the businesses that are generating these pallets as a byproduct. It's upsetting them because they are having to deal with the mess that these folks create consistently. Cost-effective business operation, meaning if we're getting all the different items that we said, plus all the different varieties of pallets, like I've stated, well, in a lot of cases, we're getting this stuff, in 95% of the cases, in the odd size stuff, we're getting it for free because we're creating such value for the supplier, correct? Which, of course, in turn, locks us in and creates more profit for us with the buyers of these pallets that are buying week after week after week. Enhance customer satisfaction and retention. Just went over that a minute ago, where we become that full service for that supplier and that full service for the buyer, and offer them different types of solutions for the way the warehouse works and the speed of operation and the fluidity of the operation, and moving all the different types of items off the property of the supplier. We are becoming locked in for that company on both sides. We're getting exclusivity. So if a scavenger tries to come in behind us but doesn't offer the things that we offer, they are shooed away. The business don't want to deal with it then because they're dealing with us doing it the proper way. We need to get you trained up to learn these techniques too, so you can operate in this manner and not go out there and try to wing it, please. Enhance customer satisfaction and retention. We just said that. Dependence on the pallet yard pricing and demand. Scavenger's stuck in that game where he is a pallet yard's overbought, and they're not needing any 4840s at the moment. And we discussed that earlier. Now you're stuck with the 4840s on your truck as a scavenger. And a lot of times, you're not going to be able to go back and put them back for sure from where a scavenger got them. So it creates a very limited window for making small profits. Okay? Ability to scale the business rapidly. Well, that's easily to see with what we said so far. Think about it. If you're dealing with multiple items to work with, the crates and the drums and dunnage and all the different sorts and sizes of pallets, and you don't have that overhead as well because you're going from the supplier directly to the buyer, that translates into more profit for you as a business owner, okay? Where you're limited as on the scavenger, and we're comparing this, you're limited to one item, which is normally the 4840. A lot of times you're having to pay for that 4840 and you're not making near as much profit because you're selling to a pallet yard. The scalability and the profitability is not there. It's more like beer money than it is a business, okay? Access to broader markets and clientele. When you're able to have more solutions in your business, I don't care if it's pallet business, anything else, if you're able to provide more solutions, more problem solving, enhanced service, and a multitude of different services to a business, then of course you have a broader market to access, right? You're not locked in the box. that a lot of people operate in when they're just playing the scavenger game and selling to pallet yards. I mean, it's obvious when you look at this and how this operates. It just makes, it makes common sense if you learn the methods of where this stuff is and who has what and how to set the deals up concerning all these items. Of course, that comes into play as well. And that's why I have training that teaches people this. So let's go to the next one. Indispensability to suppliers and buyers. Kind of repeat myself here a little bit again, but in this pallet game, when you're a scavenger and that's all you do, the problem, what happens is, one, somebody comes in is willing to pay a little more for that 48.40 than you are. Two, you're making a mess, by knocking stuff over, just getting the 48.40, and that causes you to be put in a situation where you're constantly going to have to look for new supply because you've been undercut by someone else that's doing the game just a little bit better than you as far as the scavenger goes. But if you know the other methods, like we said, and we're moving all sorts of things for that supplier, that's where exclusivity comes in. It's so important to have exclusivity in this business, or you will be stuck in a rut doing the scavenger game. Enhance operation efficiency. So again, when you have a supplier that's generating all sorts of things, let's say they're doing 5 styles of pallets and they're doing dunnage and corrugated boxes. Well, you've just stopped off at one location, right? That supplier, and you've solved their problem for those 3 items that they generate, and you simultaneously increase your efficiency because you didn't have to go here, there, and everywhere to find those 3 items to supply for your buyers. A lot of times they're right there together, okay? So efficiency in getting your job done and multiplying yourself out by 200 order for 200 corrugated boxes, 20 55-gallon drums, and 100 pallets. That's a lot better than taking 50 pallets to a pallet yard and making a couple bucks a piece or $1.50 a piece. And those orders, they'll run out of boxes, they'll run out of 55-gallon drums in a week, and they'll run out of the pallets in a week as well. And we get to rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat. Hope this is helping you guys. Reduce, and girls, reduce operational costs. Again, we don't have employees. We're not repairing pallets because we have a whole other method with broken pallets to create revenue streams. We're not storing the pallets. We're not lifting the pallets. We're just going from point A to point B when we do this on a local level. Plus, we have the option of brokering pallets for large orders of 48.40s as an example, order 1,500 a week, where we can broker that type of thing and not have to stockpile them. We have custom built pallets that we're not building that we can broker as well. So we have that part of the angle that all of it's all about keeping our costs low and serving the customers that are on a local basis and even in a brokering situation as far and wide for passive income as we want. We can stack those types of orders on top of actual point A to point B type of business, okay? And of course, we have multiple revenue streams with all the different items that we're dealing with. So reduce operational costs directly translates into higher profits for you as a business, but still serving those businesses in a way they've never been served before. Flexibility in product offerings. We've gone over that. You're able to offer all types of not only products but services for these businesses, whereas the scavenger is stuck in a box offering one solution is getting rid of their 48.40s and selling to a pallet yard, okay? They're not even dealing with actual businesses in 99% of the cases. They are dealing with a pallet yard. So they're not even attempting to go after actual customers. So it's not, they do not have the ability. My wife's walked in the middle of the video, which
Sorry.
she's okay. What's up, honey?
Oh, nothing. I just need the health insurance card, please, so I can leave.
Health insurance card.
Just hand me your wallet. And I'll take your wallet and your money. Thank you, honey. Sorry to interrupt.
Bye, money. Money.
Bye,
Money, honey. All right, sorry about that. Okay, now she threw me off track. Ability to scale. Access to broader market, ability to scale business rapidly. So let's go over that real quick. When you have multiple items that you sell, multiple suppliers that allow you to get their corrugated back boxes and crates and pallets and dunnage, that increases the amount of clientele you have right off the bat because you're servicing them in a way that they hadn't been serviced before. And again, the buyer's the same situation. You're becoming the one guy that knows how to supply them with a multitude of different products. Let me give you an example. Corrugated boxes. Well, right now they're probably buying from the company Uline, and they're paying $8 a box. Crazy prices at Uline. Go look them up. But I can sell them lightly used boxes for $4 and a quarter that I got for free and sell them $200 at a time. 200 at a time. Well, who do you think they're going to choose? I mean, it's a box, especially if it's not ripped or torn or anything. They're going to go with me with that lightly used box instead of paying out the nose to Uline for a brand new box that they'll never see again once it's shipped out the door. This is one item out of a ton of items. Same goes with dunnage. Same goes with lightly used wire reels. These things are out there by the gazillions. Well, I should say millions and billions, depending on which item you're talking about, that we can access once you learn how to do this the right way and set these accounts up. Flexibility in product offerings, we already gone over there. Lower risk of business stagnation. So if you're a scavenger, you're stuck in the 4840 selling to a pallet yard game. And a lot of times you'll see comments out there where the scavengers say, well, they're not buying pallets right now. Nobody's buying pallets right now. You know who they're talking about? The pallet yard. Because the pallet yards in some cases overbuy at times and they're not buying. But when you have a multitude of products and you have a multitude of customers to sell to with better solutions in the pallet yard, then you don't end up in stagnation like you would if you were just dealing with the pallet yard and the 4840 standard pallet. Those are the ones who get in stagnation and get caught, with they're totally reliant on the pallet yard to buy from them, right? They're working for that pallet yard. Now we have customers who are working for them, but we have, again, a multitude of different ways of helping them. And we're tethered to them in a multitude of different ways where we don't end up in that stagnation situation, okay? Higher resilience in income downturns. Same thing as I said. Back, I'll tell you what happened, why I ended up expanding my business model. Back in 2006, there was a downturn. One of my customers went out of business because of the downturn. And I wanted to expand my offerings at that point and not get in a rut where, it was a little scary at that time. I said, well, maybe some of these other businesses may go out of business or something. But that's when I started expanding it into wire reels and 55-gallon drums and corrugated boxes and Gaylord boxes and dunnage and 12-foot pallets and 20-foot pallets. I started expanding what I offered so I would not ever have to deal with the downturn. Because when you deal with a multitude of different products to offer, you have a lot of different revenue streams that come into play to prevent the downturn from happening, because you have multitudes of solutions. You're not selling just one thing, right? Lastly, building long-term business relationships. This is big. One, you got to know your stuff. You got to know how to do this, and that's how I teach. I teach this. Go to the simplestbiz.info to learn how to get trained up to be able to have these long-term relationships. And the reason you end up having them is, one, you've learned the better ways of going about this business. Two, you've created solutions for that business that they've never been exposed to before because you've been trained up. And three, it gives you the time freedom to be able to actually create better relationships with these businesses because we're not having to work all day. A lot of times, my last customer today would be like 10 a.m. in the morning, 9:30 a.m., 8:30, depending if I was playing golf. I could sit down and spend 30 minutes talking to one of the warehouse managers because I wasn't in a huge rush to have to go to my next customer because my day was done. And it allowed me to have that time to get to know not just who they were, but knew the questions to ask to even get more in-depth knowledge of how their business run so I could provide better solutions for them down the road concerning their business. There's 1,000 things going on in a warehouse. And I'll have y'all know, I just listed out, 9 different product lines. Listen, I've had situations where part of the warehouse was filled with furniture in a corner that somebody had left there and never came back to get. A house full of nice furniture, right? Had nothing to do with pallets or anything. But the fact that I created this relationship with the business owner, he shows this to me. I flipped that furniture and we split the profits between ourselves and made thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So that's what long-term relationship building does. And that's what the Simplest Biz model does in comparison to doing it like a scavenger does. And, I have respect for people out there hustling and trying to make a dime selling at pallet yards and all that, if they're trying to get on their feet and all. But there's a better way, okay? And there's a business-like way to go about this and what you need to learn to make this work the right way. Because all suppliers aren't created equal. All buyers aren't created equal. And that's why when I put this training together, I put it out in the field where you get to see what I see, do what I do, say what I say, go where I'm telling you to go, solve the problems, notice what you need to notice. So I'm breaking it down so in step-by-step way so you can duplicate it for yourself and you're not stuck in a situation where you don't know how to handle it and you're not painting yourself in the corners. Knowledge is king. So anyway, thesimplestbiz.info. I sincerely know this video has gone long. I'm at the 27-minute mark. Watch it again, because once you understand these concepts, you will understand how this business model works. John Wilker, thesimplestbiz.info. Go there for more information.